Alright guys, this is my over-under video. And what I'm going to be doing is, just going through some books that I think I paid way too much for, and some books that I think I paid more than fair price for, or in other words, got an awesome deal on. I've been watching some of your videos, and to be honest, I'm kind of copying the ideas that I've seen on some of your guys' videos. I like the idea of being honest about the marketplace and things that we got good deals on and things we got bad deals on. I don't want to just be going through books and saying what you're seeing here are books that I will be going through. This is a little bit of a voiceover here just for the first 5 minutes. These are books I'll be going through. These are all books that I either got a great deal on or got a horrible deal on. There's nothing in between. And for the first 5 minutes, I'm just going to give you an idea of the books I'm going to be looking at, and then for the last, I think, like 15 minutes or something like that, you'll probably be getting the direct voice with video where I'm just talking about the specific books. But, this is a special time in the comic book market. People who've been collecting for 20 plus years kind of cringe when they hear me say something like that, because they know what I mean by a special quote-unquote time in the comic book market. Books are going for crazy values these days. Bottom line, books are going for crazy value. And it's led to many people just assuming that it's a bubble that's going to pop. I'm kind of one of those people. But we don't know. And I've picked up a lot of information from you guys from watching your videos. And that's why I'm kind of revealing all my secrets here in this video about what I've learned about the comic book market. Because for me, it's worth getting the comments and the discussion with the back and forth between us, people who are buying comics for the most part, to try to figure out what's a good deal and what is not a good deal. I'm going to be having a Skype video here pretty soon with some of the people who I respect in the YouTube comic book community. ETA Nick, Lightning's getting in on it, and Comic Corpsey, a couple other people. Anyways, some of the great people who I've learned a lot from, basically, over just my brief tenure in watching YouTube comic book collector videos. I'm excited to have them in on this discussion. We talk hopefully about the comic book marketplace, the current comic book marketplace. If you don't know who I'm talking about, especially ETA Nick, you have my permission. Actually, I would encourage you to stop watching. Stop watching this video and just go right over to ETA Nick's channel, because he would offer you any more than I could ever offer you, to be honest. A lot of what I'm offering is regurgitated information from the pros that I've learned from, people who I think are the pros, people who have a lot of experience collecting books. And a lot of it is actually, I would argue, particularly valuable information for people who are looking to collect books these days, because a lot of those guys who've been in the market for a long time don't buy a lot of books these days because of the ridiculous price on books these days. They're more into selling their keys and trying to get books that they really want, trades, that kind of thing. I'm one of those unfortunate guys who got back into collecting in the last few years, so I'm a victim to the ridiculous bubble of prices. I'm not willing to wait 5-10 years for this bubble to burst, so I've been collecting books, unfortunately. And it's all about trying to take calculated risks, being patient, and, trying to do your best and finding yourself a decent deal on something that you love. I'm going to try to share my insight with you guys about the market. To be honest, I don't have a lot of insight about the market pre 2007. Which makes me, like I was saying, pretty similar to a lot of or at least a bulk of the people who are collecting comics these days. There's a big influx of collectors these days who are new to the hobby. Some of them have returned, like me, because they liked, collecting in childhood. Now they're getting more serious. Now they have a little bit more money. Now they're a little bit more established. The marketplace these days is a dangerous place. So you really got to beware as a buyer these days in the comic book market. And I feel like it's important for us to share our experiences, not to try to show each other up saying, hey, I got a better deal than you, but to try to, learn how to get good deals on books. So one of the things that you'll notice, if you're like me and you do a lot of research, is you're going to have a hard time finding information on what specific books were worth pre about 1995-ish. That's when people really started keeping inventories of what books were selling for, except for the major keys. And that's for me where, you know, a lot of these YouTubers who I consider kind of the OGs, the people who bought these books off the racks, come into play, because they're willing to share their knowledge about the history of collecting and what books used to go for, and they're really the invaluable ones. You know, I'm just one of the new guys. I'm just part of the fringe, to be honest, and I'm glad to be included in a lot of discussions with those people who I'm thinking of. But I'm gonna take a little bit of time to go over some of the purchases I've made in the last 2 years, and I hope I can get some good commentary going. You know, I want to get some good comments going. That's why I post these videos. If you're this far along in the video, you're probably going to go a little bit farther, so you're going to see some of the things I'm talking about. I love comments. That's the sole reason. That's really the only reason why I'm posting videos, is to talk and learn from people who like the same things that I do and who know a bit about what we're doing. So I hope you like the rest of the video, and we can get some good discussion going, guys. All right. Comics these days are expensive. Beware. All right, then. So, starting off, just to show that I'm being totally honest, I'm starting off with an way overpay. This is a book that I got when I was just getting back into collecting. It is, believe it or not, a restored copy of Spidey number 3. There's some color restoration down here on the bottom. It's hard to see if you don't know what to look for in color restoration. You wouldn't even be able to see it if I were to hold it up close. But what I wanted to say about this is it's an impulse buy. And I think we've all had them. And I love having this book, but I paid way too much for it. Okay, moving on. Contrast that with this bad boy right here that I bought much later in terms of my getting back into collecting. This is also a restored copy with minor color touch on Spidey number 4. I'd show it to you, but you won't be able to notice the color touch in the video. I'm pretty sure you won't, at least. It's basically just somebody on both of these copies, on this number 4 and on this number 3. It's just amateur color touch with somebody coloring in with a pen here on the black. And on this one, it's with somebody coloring in. Actually, they used blue pen to cover in some of the color creases here on the red. But this one, in contrast to the Spidey number 3, was a great buy for me. I took advantage of the restored condition that was advertised on it in the auction. And I also got it in an auction that was basically an auction that was advertising itself as high-grade keys. And I try to find those auctions because I like getting low-grade keys. I don't like getting high-grade keys. It's not my thing. And if you find an auction that has high-grade keys, and there's just 1 or 2 books sometimes that slip through the cracks that are actually low-grade keys, you tend to be in a buying pool that consists of people who don't like that low-grade key, and they're not willing to spend a lot of money on it. And you can actually snipe pretty well, as far as my experience, if you're willing to take the time to search through those pages and pages of the high-grade auctions for ones like this that slip through the cracks. This is Spidey number 9 right here. This is another underpay right here, way under actually. This is one of the few success stories I have off of eBay, and those success stories tend to come, I've been looking through the records, they tend to come through buyers who are new on eBay, who don't have a lot of reviews, who people aren't really willing to invest a lot of confidence in. But I do a little bit of research on those new buyers because I specifically search them out. And I try to make my own judgment based off what I can learn about them, if I think they're going to be a good seller or not. And I try to take advantage of those new buyers because that's where you can find a lot of the good deals on eBay. There's so much trash to search through on eBay. But the new buyers, if you take your time, you can still find good deals on eBay sometimes. And that was the case with this one. Just to give you an idea, got this one for, you're not going to believe me, actually, but I got this one for 1/3 of market value in its current condition. Yeah, a very nice eBay success story. But I've got some others, as you'll see, that are not so successful. Just trying to share my knowledge so I can hear back from you guys, man, and try to get little comments going on what we're doing here in the marketplace. All right, Amazing Spider-Man number 15. This one I got a ridiculously good deal on, less than half market value, even though it's not in the best condition. I still got. I'm not saying exact numbers if you notice, but I'm just telling you relative ratios for those who know the market value of these books. I got less than half market value paid on this book, and it's because I got it in a lot, and I love buying lots, especially of series I don't have a lot of. And in the beginning, I was buying a lot of lots because I didn't have a lot of books, and that's a great way to get good deals on books. Spidey number 28, a very hot book right now, actually. The Molten Man. Kind of a weird book. I honestly think that it's hot right now because we've got a lot of new collectors in the marketplace who are attracted to cover appeal. And this one has a lot of cover appeal, if that makes any sense. They're scrolling through the auctions, and they see this book, and it looks cool to them. And it's a Silver Age Spider-Man. It's fairly early, number 28. And they think, yeah, I want that. And I honestly think that has a lot of reason to do with the hype around this book lately in terms of price. But this was actually a good news story for me. I got this for less than half of what people are paying for it, at least on the average in 2014. Another case where I was just searching for low-grade keys on a high-grade auction site where they had an auction going that didn't happen very frequently. It's a site where it doesn't post a lot of auctions. They tend to be more buy it now. I really pay a lot of attention to these sites. I'm kind of giving away all my secrets here, which honestly I'm a little bit hesitant about, but I feel like I've gotten so much from the community that I need to give something back. And so as somebody who's bought a lot of books in the last 2 years, I feel like I have a lot to say about the current state of the market. I don't know much more about the market than beyond the current state, but I have a lot to say about the current state. This one I got for half of what it's been going for. And if you know about this book, you know the kind of crazy prices it's been going for. And that's a conservative estimate. To be honest, it's more, if you were to see a crazy buy, it's about 1/3 on the crazy buys that you see on this book in this condition. And I did it because, again, I was looking for a low-grade key book, like the first appearance of the Molten Man and Spidey 28, in an auction that was basically high-grade keys that's going to have a lot of buyers searching through those pages that are interested in a book like this. And this is one that slips through the cracks, and I look for ones just like this. Next, Spidey number 39. This is another good news story. I purchased it in a lot. Not going to spend too much time talking about it, other than just to give you an idea of the discount you can get if you get good deals on lots. If you can snipe auctions that have good lots. I got this for 1/3 of what it's been going for on eBay and GPA analysis, because this was actually a CGC before I cracked it out. Believe that or not. 1/3. That is a success story, yes? If you like the Green Goblin, this is a key issue for you. And man, I got it in a lot, and it just was one of those books where I was like, shoot, if I get the lot, this book along with another, it was like a lot of like 15 books. This book along with another 2 books would cover my purchase of the lot, and the rest would be excess. And I happened to find it in one of these auctions again where there's a lot of key books, and a lot isn't really going to attract a lot of those buyers who are looking for key higher grade books. And it did well. So that's another success story. Okay, now, just so you, if you think I'm talking myself up, here is a sad story. Spidey number 41. I love this book. If you see my other videos, I freaking love the Rhino. But I went way overbook on this, and this was an impulse buy. This was early on in my collecting cycle when I was into covers, and I freaking loved the cover on this Amazing Spider-Man number 41, and I still do. But after doing some research on what it's going for, I paid probably, I want to say I paid probably about 30% more than what I should have. And I don't like situations like that, but that's okay. I still love this book. Impulse buys, people. Stay away from them. Okay, this is an interesting case here. This is a very interesting case. This is an Amazing Spider-Man number 52. And I got this in a lot. And if you were just to grade this on condition and take the average of what I paid for the lot, I would have overpaid for this individual book. I still would have come out way on top of the lot. But this book, this is something you need to be careful about when bidding on lots, has some serious condition issues. And the lot description that you get in a lot of these auctions is an average condition description. They'll give you the mean, otherwise known as the average condition on all of the books. And you need to be careful because sometimes they won't show pictures of all the books, and then in that case, you might get one loser like this. And I don't know if you can see here, I'm trying to get that in focus, but this has mold. And I've been tempted to just throw this book away. I won't keep it with my other comics because mold can spread over time, even through bags, even through Mylar, actually. Mold can spread. And so when I see mold on a comic, I kind of quarantine that thing. And that is what I've done with this one. And I just consider it, I take it as a loss. You know, even if I were to just throw this book out, still the overall price I paid for the lot makes it worth it. But I don't keep this with any of my other books, and I'm just trying to, honestly looking to give it away to somebody who might want Spidey number 52. Actually, you know, if you're one of the people who watches my videos, or one of the people whose videos I comment, and you see this comic, I hate to say this, but I might honestly send you this book for free, man, if somebody wanted it, because I don't want to keep it because of the mold issue. So if you can feel comfortable with quarantining it, I would send it to you. But that's something to think about when you're bidding on lots, you know. The average condition of the book is an average, and so it can be very misleading if you're not paying attention to outliers. This is Daredevil number 1, right here. And I picked this book out because even though I paid I didn't get a great deal on it. I mean, I got a fair deal on it in terms of the market value for it in the last year or two. I did not overpay in terms of what people are paying for it, but I consider this book to be a good investment. I think Daredevil is an underrated Silver Age superhero, and he has always been an underrated superhero. You know, Frank Miller did a lot of help for him, but in general, he's always been an underrated superhero. He's kind of been the poor man's Spidey, as everybody says. And the question is, will he always be? You know, that is the question if you're into the speculation game in this market. He is one of the key Silver Age original superheroes. So 25 years from now, will all Silver Age Marvel superheroes, the key ones at least, turn a premium in terms of their appreciation and value, including Daredevil? Who knows? You know, Daredevil and Fantastic Four are the only two major Marvel Silver Age superheroes left who don't see ridiculous bumps in price for what's going on in the market right now. But will that last, is the question. I mean, if you believe, basically, my theory on this, guys, is Daredevil is a good example, because if you believe in a bull market, if you know what that means, if you believe in a bull market for the future of comics, then appreciation of comics like this is inevitable. If you believe in a bear market, on the opposite side of the coin, then the most likely prediction is that only books who made that cross-medium, that cross-collectible transition successfully to the big or small screen in terms of movies or TV shows in the last 10 or 15 years will appreciate in value in the long term. You know, people like Spiderman, X-Men, and who knows who else, you know, and they're adding all sorts of different characters now to the cinematic universe. But basically the idea is, will collectors value creative history like Daredevil number 1, or will they value only keys of first appearances and things like that of characters who became popular in popular culture through movies and things like that? I would be very curious to see what happens, and this is one of the more interesting kind of you know, middle of the line types of examples of a book where it's hard to know what will happen with this book in the future. Fantastic Four number 2. Getting very close to the end here. Unfortunately, I would say I way overpaid for this book. Way overpaid. This was in a stage of my collecting when it wasn't that long ago, honestly. I got this book maybe 2 months ago. But it was when I was in the mindset of getting early books that I wanted at the cheapest price, regardless of grade. As long as they were complete, I wanted them. And that's a good rule of thumb if you're just looking to get, you know, good deals on early grade books, not worrying about condition, trying to get good deals. But this one is just so roached out that I really regret, honestly, what I paid for it. I love that I have a Fantastic Four number 2, but I paid about 30% over market value for this, which is a poor condition, fair to poor. It's either a 0.5 or a 1. And I paid it at about the level of a 1.5, and it was, you know, a stupid buy when I really wanted an early FF book, because FF is my favorite series, Marvel Silver Age wise, and I kind of jumped on that. Contrast that with FF number 101, which is still a Lee Kirby creation way, way later on, right, in the series. But I think FF number 101 and a lot of other books that have gotten later Silver Age Fantastic Four books are kind of interesting story because, you know, okay, this book always goes for underbook. Any of these late Fantastic Four books these days go for underbook, which is great. It's hard to find that lately with the Silver Age. But I paid 1/4 of what people are paying on the market for this book. Not even to mention what that would be in terms of a percentage of the book value. And I think part of the reason why I'm able to do that, along with this book and a lot of other late FF books that I got for a ridiculously good deal, is because, you know, I think the fair market value on these, in addition to me getting a discount because of a lot, but the fair market value on these Fantastic Four late Kirby Lee issues is low, man. I think over the next 20 years, you know, you're going to see these books increase in value. In the long term, once these true Silver Age comic book lovers, who tend to be those who bought these books off the rack when they first came out, you know, those who tend to concentrate on artists rather than characters or key issues specifically, once those guys die off, I hate to be so crude, but once those guys die off and they're no longer bidding in auctions, it's unlikely that a lot of these later FF Kirby classics will retain their same level of value. But I think that in the next 20 years, you'll see even these later Kirby books increase in value. Up until then, you know, it's all good. But once they go on, I don't think these books might be worth as much as they should be. You know, they're not going to be remembered like the Lee Kirby key books with superheroes that will forever be remembered by today's youth of America who saw them in movies and in the early 2000s, you know, in TV series and movies and things like that. Anyways, FF number 28. This one, actually, oops, sorry, give me 1 second here. All right, FF number 28 is a good news. I got it for 1/3 of current market value. 1/3 of current market value for a UK version, even, I should say. I'm not even talking about what it would be worth for the United States version, but this is an important thing to bring up. If you don't care all too much about where a book came from and you just want a cool looking book that has the original story, UK books are a great option. You see 9D here, that means 9 pence, pre-decimal system in the UK. General rule of thumb is pay about 1/2 for a UK print of an original American comic. If you're paying any more than 1/2, you're overpaying. This one is a good story because I paid about 1/3. And for me, it was just a successful snipe on eBay, actually. It's pretty hard to do that these days, but it was just a successful last-minute snipe on eBay where I saw it and I was like, yeah, I'll do it for that price. Shoot, I've been looking for an early FF just like that, and I jumped on it. Last here in the list, one more FF, number 5. This book I paid way too much for. I love this book. I've shown it in a couple of my videos, but I overpaid for this book. This was early on in my collecting where I did not understand the value of signatures. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. That not only Stan Lee, who wrote the story, but Joe Sinat, who did the inking on the cover and the interior art, had signed this book. I didn't realize at that point that Jack Kirby was the one who was really worth the money, and have since grown to love Jack Kirby, of course. But, you know, I didn't pay crazy overpay for this book, but I kind of regret, to be honest. I regret buying this book, because I would like to buy this book in a higher grade for the same price I paid without the signatures. But that's okay. You need to pay attention to the value of signatures, man. Another important thing to watch. Just pay attention to what they're going for on auction with those signatures. A double signature like that is kind of hard to know because, you know, there aren't a lot of them, but I feel I overpaid for it. Human Torch, Golden Age, number 18. This one I way underpaid for, even in terms of current market value. And I'm very happy about it. I'm just on a happy note here. It has World War II cover art. I have some Golden Age books that have World War II cover art just like this. There's the Japanese painted with those racist caricature features that were so common in the Golden Age. This is a timely publication here with Toro, the Human Torch's sidekick, and the Human Torch in his original solo comic book run. This book, along with a lot of other books that have World War II cover art in particular, the cover art is important because of the way I think about the future of these books. People are going to be collecting these books in the future, as in like 30, 40 years from now. Some of them will be comic book collectors, but this is also a cross collectible in that it applies to World War II collectors. This came out during World War II. This influenced the mindset of America's youth quite a bit. It was propaganda. It was World War II propaganda for the United States in a lot of ways. And because of that, I suspect that books like this, basically any books from the Golden Age that have World War II art, Nazi or Japanese or otherwise, are a good investment. And I tend to get them in low grade because that's how I can afford them, but I love them. Okay, that is the end of this video, guys. I hope you appreciated my candor. And as always, I'm looking for your comments. That is why I'm posting these videos. Let's get some discussion going. We'll be having this live chat that I'll be posting pretty soon here on my channel, probably with some of the key YouTubers who I respect. But this is just kind of a preamble to that. Getting into a little market discussion about how to buy comics these days, because it is not easy. Hope you liked the video. Later on.